Welcome to the latest edition of the Hudson County Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Haig, and the Hudson County Sports Podcast, of course, is brought to you by Stan's Sports Center, located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Give a call to our friends Danny and the boys at 201-798-4466. And with me today is a very, very special guest, somebody who I've known for a long, long time. But he's somebody who needs no introduction if we want to talk about Hudson County sports. He grew up in Union City, then was a player at St. Joe's of the Palisades, and ended up starting his coaching career there. But more importantly, he went on to play football at Villanova University, had a great career at Villanova, came back home, continued coaching, and eventually became the man who helped turn around the St. Peter's Prep football program and put it on the map to where it is right now as the premier high school football program in the state of New Jersey, although he can't lay any claim to that, but he certainly can lay claim to the fact that he put it on the map, and it's my friend Gerry Bellotti. Gerry, how are you today?
Great, thank you, and thanks for having me. Thanks for all those accolades.
Well deserved. Well deserved. There wasn't one that I said that wasn't true, right? With the exception of it's been 36 years since you've been involved in the prep football program, but still, without you, it wouldn't have happened. So, trust me, I know that better than anybody. So anyway, all right, Gerry, here's what we're gonna do: just take a step back in time and tell me a little bit about your childhood. And you grew up in Union City, and tell me a little bit about the street you grew up in and what you were doing then.
We moved there at I was 7 years old.
Where were you born?
In North Bergen, right kind of behind the block behind the, which is now the Coach House. It used to be called the Boulevard Diner.
Yep.
It was a steel diner then, and the family created it into that place that it is now. And the Pappas family, John Pappas lived behind me. He and his brothers, Nick, and his father, Clem, and John was a West Point alumnus.
Wow.
Played for St. Peter's Prep. In the class of 1962, Joe Parks was in his class.
Wow.
He went to West Point. He had a knack for engineering. He created the new Coach House, and it speaks for itself. Unfortunately, John passed away a few years ago from lung cancer, and he was a great guy.
Well, thank you very much for the ad for the Coach House Diner, which I didn't know I had them as a sponsor as well, but that's okay. I'll work on that. But anyway, but you moved to Union City at age 7?
7 years old. My dad was a milkman.
Was he really? Your dad was a milkman. Okay.
Milkman, North Bergen, Union City, and a little bit of Jersey City. Not quite beyond, let's say, St. Anne's. He kind of stayed in that area, and he delivered milk 7 days a week, and he could tell you the name of a person and how many quarts of milk he was going to get, she was going to get, and he had a knack with strong hands. He could carry 6 bottles of milk in one hand.
Wow, like Johnny Bench with baseballs. How in the world? I mean, that's not an easy way to make a living. So your dad had to work long and exhausting hours, no? I mean, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get out of the house?
He got up at 4, and the garage where his milk was kept in a freezer was on 7th Street. And, we would go down once in a while to help him load the truck. And in the wintertime, in the summertime, it had to stay where it was cooler, so you couldn't load it until the morning, and had to put ice on it and all that kind of stuff. But he made a very good living for his family. Let's say we didn't know really what. We ate well. We went to good schools.
Okay.
And, it was a nice home. The street was right in the middle of Kerrigan Avenue and Kennedy Boulevard. Well, at that time it was Hudson Boulevard.
Right.
And then after 63, when Kennedy was shot, it was into Kennedy Boulevard.
I know that all too well, because considering the fact that I grew up on Kennedy Boulevard in Jersey City. Yeah. So, but anyway, so how many children were in your family, Gerry?
It's just my sister and I. My sister is 5 years older.
Okay.
She's been in Dallas with her husband, who is a 1956 St. Peter's alum, Richie Urso. She's been in Dallas for 45 years.
Wow. So you don't get a chance to see your sister that often, then, do you?
We see each other at different children's weddings and their children's weddings, and my family, we all went down for their 50th wedding anniversary, and in fact this year in November 12th it'd be their 60th wedding anniversary.
Wow, God bless.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So was Dad an influence in you in getting an interest in sports, or was it just the neighborhood, or how did that all come about?
I think it was just the neighborhood. My dad would, if you say, "Dad, can we have a catch?" He would go out and catch with you, but he didn't push you. He was not per se an athlete. He was always in great shape from walking up and down stairs. I think he was a milkman for 37 years.
Wow.
But in very, very good shape. Unfortunately, he had a habit of smoking. And that took his life early. He was 64 when he died. But what are you gonna do? That's life.
And that was the way of the world. Everybody back in the 40s and 50s, everybody smoked. So that's unfortunate. So, but did Dad? All right. So let's talk about your childhood. Growing up on what, 28th Street? You said.
17th Street.
Oh, 17th Street. I apologize. All right.
And
so that's right near the monastery, then, right?
That was right near the monastery, but that was.
So did you have to hop over the fence to go into play tackle football in the monastery?
No. We just played in the street right on 17th Street, and you got cars coming, and you split out, and let the car pass, and that's where you played.
Okay.
And I think I only got hit twice by cars, but
only twice. That's all.
Yeah, only twice.
Yeah.
And then my friends, we were at St. Joseph's Parish in Union City on 14th and Central Avenue, and when I got a little older, that's where we played.
Okay.
They had baskets there. They had a nice long street where you could play stickball. They had the saw plates, so you always had the thing going there, and plenty of kids.
Okay, and that was the way of the world in the 50s. Everybody, there were kids all over the place, right?
And then I got involved, I guess, like every other kid, in Little League.
Okay.
And the stadium was Roosevelt Stadium was only on 24th Street, so I only had 7 blocks to walk, and that's where I met some real characters, and one of them turned out to be my second father, Marty Seglio.
Oh, God bless.
He was one of the coaches. They had Vito Diorio was another coach. Pep Novotny was another coach.
Sure.
Perry Del Purgatorio.
Oh, sure.
Was another coach, and what was his name? I'm sorry, I'm just.
Charlie Bremer.
No, well, Charlie Bremer was kind of my contemporary.
Oh, okay. I thought he was much older than you. Okay.
Mr. Campen.
Oh, okay.
Principal of the Emerson High School at that time.
Okay. And his son became a very good attorney, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were good friends. His son actually played for me at prep.
Oh, that's right. He was the center.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember him well. So, all right. Anyway, did you gravitate to playing all 3 sports as a youngster? And if that's the case, which was the first sport that you started to love more?
It was baseball because it was readily available at the stadium, and if there weren't any kind of games, then you just went there and shagged fly balls and hit and that kind of stuff. But it was convenient. It was always conducive to having a bunch of kids. It was a safe environment, and I don't know. We made the Little League teams, and the Little League teams at that time played on Monday, Wednesday, Tuesdays, Thursdays.
Okay.
So you were either in a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Monday, Wednesday group, and and they started at 8:00 in the morning.
And there
No fans. The only fan that ever went was my dad, because he was finishing up milk route around that time, so he could stop and see me. But he never said anything. He's a great parent. Always he did well. Did the best you can.
Okay.
So that was it.
All right. And so, what kind of a baseball player were you, Gerry?
A better baseball player than anything else, to be quite honest with you.
Really?
I was a catcher.
Okay.
I could catch anything, fly ball, anything. I could. I don't know if I was a good hitter. I was a decent hitter, but they didn't have any kind of stuffer at that time. You know, you just threw a straight ball and you hit it. You know, but we had there were some pretty good athletes up there. You know, like a George Fuso and a Red Reddick, if you can remember those kind of names.
Okay.
Frank Forster.
Oh God, sure.
You know, so it was, and Vito Petrocelli was another guy that grew up. He was a terrific player. Tommy Brooks, who I went to school with and very close to this day.
Oh wow, that's great.
So, but you know, you played a game, and the funny thing, if you had the early game, you had to put the fence up.
Yeah. Okay.
The fences came down. You put them up by section, and you know, you had to drive the peg into the ground to hold the fence up, the steel bar, and so it was you got a little bit of an education as far as engineering. You didn't have much of a uniform. They gave you a pair of pants and socks. You know, the socks that you wore in your uniform.
Yep.
And they gave you a T-shirt. So
Okay.
that was it, and a hat.
And a hat.
So it was nothing fancy dancy about it, you know. And it was, I thought it was great at that time.
You probably felt like you were a king, you know? Once you got that smell of that brand new T-shirt, that must have been the greatest thing in the world, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So, and then I met Marty. I went to St. Joseph's in Union City, and you played on the CYO basketball team, which everybody had one, you know, and you played down in Bergen Avenue, in the CYO Center, and that was, you know, for some of us, that was a trip, and it was just a mob of kids, you know, and you were down there, you played a quick game, and your ball hit the overhang there.
Right, the running track above, right?
You know, so it was, you know, it was always that kind of stuff. But again, never anything too ostentatious, and it kept it all in perspective. And then it was time for high school, and St. Joe's was just built, a new St. Joe's, in 58 was their first class.
Okay, did you have any thought at all of going anywhere else, or because you had such a great association with Marty that you were definitely going to St. Joe's?
Well, quite honestly, I tried to get in prep. I took the exam like everybody else, and I didn't get in.
Wow! You know what? You learn something new every day. Gerry Bellotti couldn't get into prep. How about that?
But you know, St. Joe's was a good school. It had a new building. It was up and coming. Frank Gargiulo had graduated 5 or 6 years prior to me, so it was kind of well known. And again, Marty went there as an assistant coach, and we had Artie Couch.
Artie Couch, God bless him.
I didn't know Artie Couch until I got there. He was a really terrific coach and a gentleman and an educator. So everything about him I liked, and I kind of followed a lot of the stuff in my coaching, emulated him and Marty and a little of Alex Bell from Villanova.
Okay.
So it was all, you know, you picked up little pieces.
All right, now talk a little bit about Artie Couch, who then went on to become the superintendent of schools in Secaucus. So he had a great educational career. What kind of a football coach was he to play for?
Very good. He graduated from Upsala. He was a theory guy, and he would motivate you. But he had some, you know, he had a couple of coaches with him that did different things. Ralph DeMichael, I think, was a teacher at North Bergen High School. When that came into existence, he was the line coach, and Marty was the, I don't know what he was exactly, ends and backs, and then Artie would put the whole program together, and we had a good practice schedule, and you know, it wasn't too long, it wasn't, there was nothing nasty about it, you know, it wasn't always hitting or anything like that. In fact, we didn't hit much at all.
Oh, really? In practice, you didn't hit at all?
No, not much at all.
No, not much at all. Okay.
You might hit on Monday or Tuesday, hit a little bit, but always the finer points of the game. And I started as a tight end.
Wow.
And,
Now, did you never play organized football at all before you got to St. Joe's?
Never. We didn't have any.
Wow.
You played organized football in the street.
Okay. Wow.
That was organized.
All right. So you never had shoulder pads on. You never had a helmet.
No.
Wow. All right. So what was that like when the first time you put on a pad and helmets?
It was strange. I had gotten the football equipment for Christmas. In fact, my parents, Santa Claus, brought me a football outfit, and I wore number 77, and that was Red Grange's number.
Yep.
Who the heck knew who Red Grange was? But a helmet that was you couldn't use for.
No, plastic.
You couldn't, but it looked nice. In fact, I still have a picture of that, and my daughter, being an artist, made a picture of that, and also a picture of Villanova, and a comparison.
Oh, wow.
And, it was nicely done.
Okay.
But school was very important. It was important to my parents, and athletics was very important to me also. But the two, run by the Christian Brothers, was very integral to my growing up.
Okay.
They were tough.
I could imagine.
Tough.
I could imagine.
Very
very physical too, probably, right?
And you know what? You didn't help. You didn't mind that. And if you dared go home and say, "Brother such and such hit me," then your parents would hit you right after. But it's not the same anymore.
Okay.
It just isn't that way anymore.
Now, was St. Joe's totally integrated, boys and girls, at that point?
No, St. Joe's was co-institution.
Co-institution.
The boys are on one side, the girls are on the other side.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
And never the twain shall meet.
Never the twain shall meet. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. No.
You met,
Okay.
if you walk to the chapel, or if you have gym class and they were just leaving or you were just leaving, that was about it. But you kind of stayed away from it. That was the way it was supposed to be.
All right.
We met at dances or mixes, whatever they call them. But it was a fun experience.
Okay. All right. Now, you said you first, as a freshman, you were a tight end. How did you then develop to become a back? I developed
to become a back when everybody got injured.
Oh, really? Is that how it happened?
I think it was you played freshman football, and then as a sophomore, everybody was part of the varsity. But if you were a freshman, you didn't play varsity.
Right.
It was a separate schedule, and it followed the schedule of the team you were playing. You played a freshman game, whether it was Friday or Saturday morning, and then the varsity game played the rest of the weekend. The same as when I went to college. You couldn't play as a freshman.
Right. Yeah.
That was the deal.
All right. It was as a sophomore. All the other people got hurt.
Yeah. Tom. Actually, you'll remember this name, Tommy Hespis.
Sure.
And then there was another guy after him was Kenny Steidel. They both got hurt.
And this is when you were a sophomore.
And when I was sophomore, so that next week I was installed as the quarterback.
Okay.
And he threw, he threw marginal passes, a couple of screens here and this and that. It was he put it together as a good program. We weren't all that great.
But you played all the top schools, though.
Yeah, well, it was the Tri-County League we were in.
Okay.
Until we were a senior. And then we got into the Hudson County League. In fact, I think the first Hudson County team we played was St. Peter's Prep.
Oh, wow. Is that true? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So when they told you were going to become a quarterback, were you nervous? Or did you say, boy, oh boy, here's a golden opportunity for me?
I just wanted to play. I didn't really care about
okay.
the opportunity, I could take the ball, I could throw it, not as fine as I became in it, throwing it, but, again, Artie was a very, very good coach. Played to the strengths of not only his team, but to the individuals.
And what kind of offense did he run? Did he run?
We were in a multiple eye set.
Wow. Okay.
And it had some pro elements. If you wanted to run the ball, then you brought the flanker in and put him on a wing. But it was basically a multiple eye.
Okay. And how many times a game did you throw? Maybe 6?
No, a little bit more than that. Maybe a dozen.
Okay, a dozen. All right. All right, so you got a little sense of whether or not you were pretty good at that point then, right? Right away as a sophomore?
We had tough times. The sophomore team won the Tri-County Championship.
Okay.
That was, Immaculate Conception, Pope Pius X, I think, was in it. St. Cecilia of Englewood, where Lombardi coached.
Sure.
In fact, we beat them to the championship of the Tri-County League, and I also kicked the extra points.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I really enjoyed that, and I would go up to Roosevelt Stadium and practice kicking on my own. Just, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, let's just go up there and kick.
Okay.
For no reason.
Yeah, there's no goalpost else. Where else are we going to practice, right?
There, and I know my grandmother gave me
a kicking tee?
As a tea. It was basically where you would boil eggs. It was almost like if you put eggs into to make hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
It sat on a little bit of a rack, and there was like 5 holes in it. So that was my kicking tee.
Oh, not great. Okay. And then how did you learn then where to hit the ball so you make it go end over end and make it go through goalpost?
No, I just you did it so much, and then Marty would say, "Blotch, you gotta lock your ankle." He said, "Okay." Lock the ankle, and it was everything was straight on, and
Sure.
Sidewinder, Gogolak didn't exist at that time. So it's just you got a little oomph, and from kicking you develop some muscle strength in my case my right leg. So my thigh was always rock solid.
All right.
Always rock solid. But,
all right. How in the world then? After 3 years of being a quarterback at St. Joe's, how did Villanova get into the picture?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but
no.
We weren't allowed to send our transcript to any non-Catholic institution.
Is that true? Wow.
And if you did that, they made sure your parents were cognizant of that and said, they were responsible for your education, Catholic education, if you chose that. I know I went down to Maryland, and I knew as soon as I stepped off the plane, this was not for Gerry Bellotti.
Okay.
I went with Tommy Brooks up to Holy Cross, and I hated it.
All right.
Wait to get out of there. It was just, it's just
too stuffy.
Yeah. I went to West Point, of which I failed the physical. To West Point. I know I met Paul Dietzel and my dad. We had dinner in a place called, it might still be in existence, the Opera on Route 9W.
Okay.
It was a very nice place. And we had dinner there, and I came back and I failed the physical.
What did they tell you failed for?
Well, I had when I was playing baseball, I slid into third base, and all of a sudden something popped, and Marty at the time was the third base. Get up, Watch, get up. He said, "This really hurts. Come on, shake it off," and it was always tape an aspirin on and walk it off.
Okay.
So when I got up, and it just hurt, and it just kept going like that. And I don't know if you remember the program Laughing, where the guy
absolutely.
He goes and fall over.
Yep.
Well, I would knock my knee and fall over. My right leg became just lame.
Wow.
I had nothing. And so I went to the doctor. I had cancer in my leg.
Oh my God.
I had cancer in my right leg, and I don't remember the doctor's name, but he lived right up there. His office was right up the block from old Hudson, North Hudson Hospital.
Right, in Weehawken.
Clifton, yes, on Clifton Terrace.
Yep. Now wait, was it bone cancer, Jer?
It was slight malignancy right by my knee.
Oh my God.
So,
when they gave you that diagnosis.
I had no idea what a malignancy was.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Had no idea. I know I came home and my mother was like sobbing. And I said, "What's the matter? You got some problem." I said, "What kind of problem?" She says, "Well, there's a slight cancer in your leg." I had no idea what cancer was. I'm 13, 14 years old. I had no idea what that was.
Wow.
So, but, as luck would have it, I got the surgery. This doctor, I think his name was Dr. Lang. He's a nice man. And he told me that he had lost his wife during childbirth. He's a doctor that lost his wife during childbirth.
Wow.
Which is kind of unheard of in that time. But anyhow, I got through that, and that was my freshman year in St. Joe's, and it necessitated that I didn't go out for the baseball team.
Okay.
And Marty wanted me to say, "Hey, get better. Get better." I had just played freshman football and freshman basketball, which we were pretty good. We had a good cast of characters, and that's really all of it is. Surround yourself with good people. We had some good teams, and the brothers in that, they recognized this is the way we're going to build the program at St. Joe's.
Okay.
We're gonna go out and we're gonna almost recruit, as you said about me and Don Finelli.
There you go.
And their method of recruiting was through basketball tournaments.
Okay.
They ran a Thanksgiving tournament.
That big, it was very, very big Thanksgiving tournament. Sure.
I followed the same pattern when I went up there in 1970. We ran a basketball tournament, 16-team basketball tournament. You brought the teams in. 8 teams played the day before Thanksgiving, and 8 teams played the day after Thanksgiving.
Was that a grammar school tournament or a high school tournament? Grammar school. Okay.
We wanted to see the talent that was out
Sure.
there. We kept it. I think it was $50 a team, and we gave them certainly nice trophies. Those that won and runner-up, they had access to swim after the game. Pool. That was another luxury that St. Joe's had. They had a brand new swimming pool.
Sure.
Not too many schools had pools. Maybe Dickinson, but it wasn't a condition of St. Joe's.
No way. No.
But and that's kind of the way we conducted that as far as going forward. But that's the way the brothers built the program. They brought X amount of kids to see the plays, to get enticed by it, to see their athleticism. The brothers actually reffed the games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were good athletes. They were tough. You didn't give them any lip.
Did they ref the games like in full gear? Like what they call it? I guess a mock. Where they were wearing or were they wearing a regular shirt and pants?
They were wearing a regular referee's outfit.
Oh, regular referee's outfit. Okay.
That's kind of the way it was. It was a very nice tournament. We had a lot of fun, and fortunately we won. But again, we had a pretty good team. We had Tommy Brooks was there, and he did go to St. Joe's, and that was kind of the start of that.
Right.
Myself and how about this name, Charlie Sheridan? Remember that name?
Is he related to Mike Sheridan?
No.
No.
That's
Rutherford, right? Yeah, but I thought maybe they had Hudson County roots. How did I know?
The Sheridan family, Charlie Sheridan was a terrific athlete, except that he didn't have anything else.
Oh,
He was
okay.
a terrific athlete, and so was the rest of his family. I mean, I think there were like 7 or 8 kids.
Okay.
But and we were good. We blew through the tournament, and then we blew through the state, whatever they called it at that time, CYO tournament. We went to the championship, and the championship I think was down in Lincroft, believe it or not.
Okay.
CBA in Lincroft.
All right.
It was fun.
All right. So how did Villanova get into the mix?
Well, Nick Caruso, remember that name?
Yes.
Jersey City. He owned a liquor store, and he was a Villanova alum, class of '38, and he was kind of like an area scout.
Oh, really? Okay.
He would go and say to this, I got this guy, I got this guy, I got this guy, and
A lot like what Winsor Mastorelli was for the University of Vermont, right? Same thing, yeah.
correct. Of which my granddaughter's going there.
I know you said that. She's a great basketball player, right?
I thought of Whizzer, and I thought of Danny Weaver went up there.
Yeah. Oh, there were a ton of kids that went to Vermont from North Hudson. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Didn't Frank Foster go there?
Sure. That's how I knew that name.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So, but I don't know. Villanova got into the mix. It's a Catholic school, but I'll tell you how it did get into the mix even more so. I mentioned that my dad had a garage down on 7th Street. On 6th Street was a priest who lived in his parents' house, and his name was Father Richard Apici. And my dad delivered milk to them.
Okay.
And it was on the North Bergen side, so it was on the other side of the boulevard, the south side.
Right.
And my dad delivered milk, and Father Richard was an Augustinian priest. Those are the priests in Villanova.
Ah.
And he said, I want your son to go to Villanova. My father came home with something. I said, what the hell is Villanova? So he would have a clipping, and he always carried clippings of his son, naturally. And he would show him, he says, I want your son to go to Villanova. I want your son to go to Villanova. And all of a sudden, Nick Caruso said, how would you like to take a trip to Villanova? And they, naturally, they all went through the school first. They went through the athletic director.
Right.
They went through the brothers.
Right.
And now we were going down to Villanova to see it. I fell in love with it.
Okay.
And it didn't help. It didn't hurt that Father Apici was the dean of students then.
Oh, see, then that definitely helps. So.
I mean, I had no idea what he was or where he was, but we got down there one day. I guess we were down for the weekend, and it was just terrific. Again, it was no big to do. You went out with a couple of the football players. They took you around. You met the coaching staff. You brought some film down there because that's what you had to do in that time.
Sure.
It wasn't that they knew all that much about you, and that's what it was. Myself and George Piper, and when George was young, he used to be Buddy, but when he became a billionaire, it became George.
Okay.
Timmy Gorman was also down there, but he chose to go to Notre Dame.
Okay.
And I just had a wonderful time. The campus suited me. Again, that was all boys. I didn't need any girl interaction because I could see myself becoming a real,
Playboy.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't need that.
There you go. And if you're at Villanova, the Bryn Mawr right next door, so you didn't have to worry about going after girls. They were right there. See, right?
Bryn Mawr. Yeah.
Yep.
Villanova's still been trying to buy Bryn Mawr
They are.
for a long time.
Yeah, right. But Bryn Mawr is still there. So anyway, we'll be back with the Gerry Bellotti Villanova years in 1 second after this message from Stan Sports Center. And Stan Sports Center is your local full-service sporting goods vendor and authorized team dealer. They offer quality products and dozens of brands to outfit your team top to bottom. Stan's has been proudly supporting the local community since 1946, which is even before Gerry Bellotti, and is one of your one-stop shop for uniforms, equipment, online team stores, and much more. Located in Hoboken and Saddlebrook and servicing the entire tri-state area, visit them on the web at stansportsctr.com and check them out on social media for their latest creations. That's Stan Sports Center, located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Telephone number is 201-798-4466. And when you do, tell them that you listen to the podcast and go and say hi to Dan DiCagilio, who's there almost all the time. Right? Gerry, he's almost there all the time, right?
I know that.
Yeah, okay.
And if he's not, he's up the street from me in Hasbrook Heights.
See? There you go. And Danny's going to be really happy that once again, one of the episodes that he's sponsoring involves somebody he knows in you. So, all right. So now you go to Villanova, and you didn't play as a freshman, but you could play freshman football. And did they move you at all, or you knew you were a quarterback?
I was a quarterback. We had a 6-game schedule, football. You played Army, Navy, Bullis Prep. I think it was Delaware, Westchester. And I'm trying to think if there was one other team in there, but I'm not exactly sure.
Okay,
so
but
my first game at Villanova was against Army, and it was at
Mikey Stadium, right?
Yeah, and we lost 2017, and I was like crushed. I hadn't lost. The year before, I hadn't lost at St. Joe's, so this was kind of tough for me to accept. But they were a good team, and we were a good team, and it was amazing how much the extra quarter meant playing. It was a 15-minute quarter, so we went from 12-minute quarters to 15-minute quarters, and that extra 3 minutes
exhausted you. Yeah.
It was different. So you learn from that, if nothing else, that you had to get in better condition. Certainly bigger, stronger, faster, and naturally you deal with these guys. With the cadets, they were tough.
Yeah, no, and they were trained to run 5 miles every day at 5 a.m. So they were going to run you right out of the building. There's no question.
We didn't get run out of the building. We played pretty well.
No, you lost 20-17, so that's not too bad at all, right?
Like a 37-yard field goal.
You kicked the field goal?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But it was 37-yard field goal. There's no way this is going to happen.
Yeah. All right, now let me ask you, Gerry. I don't know if he's before you or after you. I'm going to guess before you. But where was Lou Rutino in the mix of him going to Villanova?
He graduated when I came in.
Oh, okay.
He graduated in '63. That's when I came in.
Okay. Did you know him at all, or you just knew of him?
I knew him from St. Peter's, but I actually watched him play a lot of games when he was an athlete at St. Peter's.
Oh, okay.
And another guy that was close to me, and still close to me, Richie Granda.
Ah!
He lived on 14th Street, and my dad was his milkman.
Okay.
And Rich would walk up the block with toting his equipment every day, going back and forth. The helmet's on the outside, and he was a big star. And he said, "Wow, it's Richie Granda."
Oh, okay.
Richie Granda. So it was.
He's going to get a really big kick that you just called him a big star, because he listens to every one of these podcasts. So I hope you realize. So he's going to be a big kick out of you to being a star.
Big star. And then before that, what happened? I coached some of his children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Right? Did you get all 3? Oh no, you had 2 of the 3.
I didn't coach Dan. Yeah.
You didn't coach Danny. But you had 2 of the 3. Yeah.
Doug and Ricky.
Yep. And you turned Ricky into a quarterback, correct? He never played quarterback before you changed him into a quarterback, right?
Yeah, he was a good quarterback.
Yeah, no.
He probably should have played a little bit more, which was my last year. Again, because I had my son as a quarterback and nobody to receive the ball, and not to show any favoritism, I took him off defense where he was a big star on defense. In fact, he made.
Who, you took Greg off of defense?
Yeah.
And he became a superstar in college at defense.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. Thanks very much.
No problem. That's all right. Hey, I got to stick up for Greg because you know why? he gives me T-shirts all the time. So I mean, I got my David Wright jersey from Greg, and I've gotten about 7 or 8 different ridiculous T-shirts from Greg. So I got to stick up for Greg. He's yeah. So anyway.
He was terrific down at the
College in Jersey, sure.
Trenton State when it started.
Yeah. Was it Trenton State, or was it always College in Jersey when it started? No.
No. It was Trenton State.
Oh, okay.
He started there at Trenton State, and his junior year they went to the college in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
My daughter Christine followed him there, and she had the choice of which diploma. She says, "I went in at Trenton State. I'll come out of that at Trenton."
Oh, good. See, that's a great story. I didn't see. There are things I keep learning from you as we keep going along. So, all right. So, tell me a little bit about your career at Villanova, and was Villanova's offense a pro set too? And did it feature you being able to throw the ball just a little bit more?
It was basically a running. It was a running style. It was basically a power offense because the people that came there were a Ruritino.
Okay.
Another guy you might heard, Billy Joe.
Ah, William Joe. Yeah, it's before Joe Willie. They both were on the same team. William Joe and Joe Willie were on the same Jets team together. Yes.
And the fact of the matter is, it was a 3-yard cloud of dust type of thing.
Okay.
With a kind of a rollout option, so they went to an I and a run pass option, except that basically
the quarterback couldn't run.
That's true. He didn't run too fast.
No.
But it was fun, and again, we had a very, very good sophomore team that was undefeated until our last game, which was against Boston College. And the reason why we lost that, we lost it 9-7, I believe.
Wow.
Now, Al Atkinson, remember him?
Of course. Al Atkinson also played for the Jets, too.
Al Atkinson was the captain of that team.
Okay.
And he was the deep man in the punt formation.
Okay.
And the guy by the name of Bob Hyland came running in. I think he played for the Giants also.
You mean? Oh yeah, Bob Hyland was a lineman for the Giants. Sure, he was on he was on that immortal Giant team that was 2-11-1 under my friend Alex Webster. Yes. Yeah.
Well, anyhow, this Bob Hyland comes in to block a punt, and Atkinson hit him so hard he upended him, and he comes down, and his foot hits the ball.
Oh my God!
He blocked the punt. We lost the game.
Oh man!
And then we went up to the last game of the year. We went up to University of Buffalo, and a guy by the name of Gerry Bellotti was captain.
Wow! Well, we were just having Jets memories here, you know.
But we never got to play the game.
Snow?
But where our hotel was, it was beautiful. But on the Buffalo side, it snowed like hell.
Right.
It was underground.
Yeah, no, that's the lakefront effect squall. Yeah.
And it was we were supposed to play in War Memorial Stadium.
Oh, that would have been fun for you.
Couldn't even get there.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, we went out. We had gone to mass in the morning and came back and had breakfast, and we were heading to the stadium, and they grabbed us and said, "Sorry, guys, we had to come back." We went home.
So
that game cost us a little bit of the. I guess they played for the Lambert Trophy at that time.
Sure, yeah, in the East Coast, right?
Yep. But Villanova had come off.
And was there a chance, Gerry? Did you had a chance to go to a bowl game at all? It was.
Well, we thought so, but they had just gone to 2 bowl games back to back. They went to the Sun Bowl and the Liberty Bowl.
Right.
And the Liberty Bowl was game played at
Memphis.
Convention Hall, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah. So, but they lost that. Gary Beeben, I believe, was the quarterback.
Wow.
Oregon State.
Yep. Who won the Heisman?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And they had him dead to rights in the end zone. He shook it off and went 99 yards.
Oh.
That was the only score of the game.
Oh.
But
all right. So you never had a chance to play in any bowl game while you were at Villanova?
no.
Oh, yeah.
My,
So what were your team's records like? You were successful.
Sophomore we were 8-1.
Okay.
Junior year we were I think about 3-6.
Oh, okay.
Senior year we were 6-3.
Okay.
Fortunate enough to get in, as a sophomore, play defense. We had a little bit of that stuff. If you played defense, you stayed on the field and played offense.
Right.
I don't know what that rule was. It was
made no sense.
dumb.
Right.
Yeah, it made no sense.
No.
But anyhow, I know the first 4 passes I threw, I had 4 touchdowns.
Oh my gosh.
Then came back.
You know what? That's still got to be a Villanova record. Still to this day, it's got to be. I would think it's still got to be in a record book. I'm going to call the Villanova SID to see if that stands. 4 passes, 4 touchdowns.
I'll tell you who has a couple of records down there. Another Hudson County guy, Joe Velasco.
Oh my gosh, sure.
And Joe and I are very fond of Nick Cutro.
Oh, okay.
Because he was the guy
that recruited you guys to go to Villanova, right?
In fact, Joe bought his business, the liquor store.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay, all right.
Yep.
That's a small world. All right.
Yep.
All right, Gerry, at that point when you were at Villanova, did you have any idea what you wanted to do for the rest of your life? Or did you say to yourself, you know what, I want to be a teacher and coach?
No, I was, my first job was at General Foods.
Oh, really?
And I had, right out of college, I got married. And General Foods was a position with the Bird's Eye Division. In fact, the other day they played the golf tournament at Wingfoot, right?
Yeah, the U.S. Open, right.
That was my first golf match that I ever played, was on Wingfoot, because General Foods was in White Plains, and they had the General Foods Open.
And you played, the first time you ever played golf, you played Wingfoot?
Never played before. I had to borrow clubs I didn't even know what to do.
I can't believe you're still not playing. I can't believe, like 60 years after the fact, you're still not out there, you know?
I played once in a while, yeah.
Now, but if this is the first time you ever played, and you played Wingfoot, forget about it. You'd be out there looking for balls the whole time in the fescue. Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow, they had caddies.
Okay.
But
but anyway, so where were you living when you got married, and you had a Jersey City, and you were driving every day to White Plains?
No.
Oh.
Actually, our office with General Foods and Bird's Eye was in Clifton.
Oh, okay, not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And I remember coming home and telling my wife, I don't know this job. They had just introduced a product, and I said, this ain't going to work. It was a thing called Cool Whip.
Oh.
So I was pretty market savvy.
Yeah, see that? I thought you were going to tell me the TV dinner was coming out. Yeah. So.
No, that wasn't Bird's Eye. That was Swanson.
Oh, okay, all right.
TV dinner.
But Cool Whip, no.
I felt it was a good starting job, but I went back to teach to speak at St. Joe's. I think one of their sports nights, award nights, and one of the brothers said, "How would you like to teach and coach?" I said, "Well, I can probably get my teaching degree, to make up for the kind of courses I missed. I could probably get that, but I'd like to coach." And it just ended like that, And
so just like that, General Foods went out the door, and you went right into teaching.
Marty became the coach at St. Joe's.
Right. Okay.
And he asked me if I'd like to help him, which I said, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was working for General Foods, and I could make my own hours, so I was there at 3:00, coaching, and then went home.
Okay.
But did my paperwork for a General Foods job, and I started to like it, and then they called me up, and I remember I had gone to Disney World, and
Disneyland, right, in California.
Disney World was in Florida, right?
Yeah, but that's not when you were coaching at St. Joe's. Disney World wasn't built yet, so Disneyland.
I think it was Disney World. We're talking about like 1968, 9.
Okay. Now, I don't think it was built yet, Jeff, but that's besides the point. Okay.
Well, I came back from there, and there was such a pile of stuff on the desk. I said, "Doc, this is just not fun here." So I called a brother, and I said, last year he offered me a position. What do you think? He says, "We'd love to have you." And we went up. We talked some dollars, which was at that time small. I mean, let's face it, my first job was about $8,500.
Wow.
In a car.
Okay.
That's the way it was. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. It was fulfilling. I didn't get that gratification when I came home at night from working for General Foods.
No.
I was going to be working for a paycheck that day.
Okay.
And Marty was fun to be around.
Always was. And he probably fed you. He fed you well, right?
Then Marty retired.
Well, he stepped down as a football coach. He didn't retire. He was the AD forever and ever and ever. So. Yeah.
He stepped down as the coach. He was starting to get there very wise.
Yep.
And I remember his last game against North Bergen. And he had a couple of football players, and he would go in and say, "We're going to win this way." Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside. We had Randy Stacy, and what the heck was the other guy? I don't remember.
But you had a Mr. Inside and a Mr. Outside at St. Joe's?
Yeah. Under Marty,
Okay, but they weren't as impressive as say Lombardi and Gene Mancino and who's the other guy? Lombardi, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Lombardi.
Yeah. Yeah. So
his son went down to Villanova, by the way.
Oh, that's right. That is correct. Yeah.
I saw him play when they brought football back. He was on that team.
Right.
So it was a great relationship. It was a good time at Nova. It taught me a lot on coaching. Alex Bell was a gentleman, an absolute gentleman. There was no messing around.
Okay.
I mean, they had stuff where you had. I'm going to give you this guy that was my tutor, my mentor, my instructor, called Al Severance.
Oh my gosh!
And myself and George Piper were called down because we had failed 3 midterm exams. And he called us into his office. He says, "So how do you want to get home? Bus? Train? Because I got a ticket here." I said, "Ticket to where?" He says, "Home. You guys don't take them home here." He says, "You fail. You're here a month. You fail in 3 subjects." So what are you talking about? I mean, you failed 1 test, and it was just that he laid the law on you.
Yeah.
He was the former basketball coach.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they called him Jump and Shout. In
Yep.
fact, I had him for business law because all he would do was jump and shout. and in fact, the most classic line I remember after he gave us an ultimatum, did it. George, at the time it was Buddy Piper, says, "When I win the Heisman Trophy, I'm not inviting you to the dinner."
That's really good.
Yeah, that was a great one.
All right. So when you're now coaching at St. Joe's with Marty, what was that like? I mean, this is somebody who you admired tremendously and looked up to. And what kind of responsibilities did Marty give you right away?
Basically, I had the line, the backs, the backs, and it was quarterback and the running backs and the ends in there also. But he ran the ball a lot. We threw the ball somewhat, but certainly not the way the offense is now.
Right.
And we had a couple of pretty good players. Tom Lameke was one. He had just finished there, and when I came back from Villanova, I missed him, but I saw him play in a couple of games. I mean, I didn't coach him, but after that, he had some pretty good talent. But they ran the ball. They were very much. He was very much a disciple of Ted Savati, you know.
Oh, okay.
And good friends. I mean,
very good friends. Very good friends.
When they play against each other, they just we got to kick this stuff, you know.
Yep.
And he was simplistic in his approach. 1, 2, 3 line blocking. A couple of times you double team, but and the passes were, square out this and that. There were no complimentary things. That stuff came in later.
Yep.
And then when he decided to step down as that, and Frank was coming in. Frank was over at Cardinal Spellman.
Yep, in the Bronx, right?
Amount of years.
Yeah.
And then he came here, and I said, Frank, if you want me to keep coaching, I will. But I'd like to coach on the freshman level.
Oh, really? Okay. So you asked for it. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to coach on the freshman level. I thought I could get more credence to the program, and it was a good thing. And let me see what kid I had. Mike Tanner. He was pretty good.
Not bad. And you know what? Did he ever tell you how good he was? Mike was his own personal highlight film. Mike would tell you how good he was. Now I don't know whether or not he did that to you when he was in high school, but he certainly did that while I played softball with him. He was like there was. I just spoke about him with Don Finelli a couple of weeks ago when I did the podcast with Don. He, because he helped him. Michael was an incredible athlete. Oh my God! But
we always got along. In fact, we got along better as you get older. You go with the manhood, and when he had his daughter Sasha, I called him. I said, what's your name? After a dog or a cat? I said, come on. So, and ironically, we went to Sasha's wedding.
Oh, wow.
She had her in high school, at Tech High School.
Yeah.
So that was an experience.
And for those who are listening for the first time, Michael Tanner was an incredible athlete that unfortunately we lost in the World Trade Center attacks on 9/11. And he was also a former softball teammate of mine that I played with for about 5-6 years. And he played center field while I was pitching. And anything that was hit in the air, no matter where it went, from right field to left field, he was going to get it. He could go get it, and he could throw it. Wow. Great athlete. And a great guy, too. Yeah. So, but anyway, and then obviously we just mentioned Don Finelli played for you too as well, right?
Another superb athlete. We had some very good teams. Neil Reardon.
God rest him. Yep.
Minovini, Nick Zanetich, who went on to Nebraska.
Yep.
Terrific linebacker. I mean, so we had a lot of talent. Just getting them all together and getting them to play, and like anything else, once you start winning, it becomes harder to lose.
Right.
Same as the other way. Once you lose, it becomes hard to win, and that was the thing we had to instill at St. Peter's. When I was offered the job by
don't go there yet. Stay at St. Joe's first for a while, and then we'll go into the St. Peter's era. But talk a little bit about St. Joe's. Did you ever get a chance to work with Frank, or you like being the freshman coach?
No. He asked me to come up after like 2 years with the freshman team.
Okay.
And I stayed pretty much with Mike Tanner, his tenure there, and again we built. The program was starting, but we had to do that whole influx. We went through not recruiting call. We went to the basketball tournament to get a feel for some athletes and let them see let them see St. Joseph's, see what was going on at St. Joseph's. You know.
All right. Well, to talk a little bit about that recruiting thing that I talked about with Don Finelli last week, and he said that Gerry Bellotti lived around the corner from me, and he took me by the hand and took my sister by the hand and went up to St. Joe's, and that was it. That his life was changed forever. So talk a little bit about your relationship with Don.
That was the way it was. I mean, in no way was anything offered to anybody. There was no money given or anything like that. That was unheard of.
All right.
You know, here's our institution. Here's our style. Would you like to be in this involvement here? When Don Finelli came, it was still an all boys or a co-institutional school, and when he left in '73, did it go co-ed?
Right.
And that was at its highest number because I think it was about 1,150 kids in the school at that time.
Sure.
So we were at the highest thing, but you know, like anything else, things change, times change. You know, we had a pretty strict dress code. We had a strict haircut type things you can't do anymore.
Yep.
You know. But it was good, and we did a lot of stuff by running that basketball tournament, and then having some of the coaches go out there and you know, shaking the bushes.
Okay.
And, hey, I got this kid here from how many athletes we got from Hoboken? It's unbelievable.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, and then how many years did you stay at St. Joe's for?
I was coaching there. I coached from '70 to '78.
Okay. All right. And then during that era, you got the chance to, I guess, coach a hard-nosed kid from Hoboken who had a bent nose and really bad skin and probably played his behind off for you by the name of Rich Hansen. And what was he like as a high school kid?
Well, my wife will always say that Rich was the best auto racer she ever had. She had him in English class. He and Dominic Luciano.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
We had a very, very good run with those kids. I mean, we went and we beat played for the state championship. Well, we beat the DePaul team.
Yep.
Out in DePaul.
With Tommy Vigorito.
Vigorito and Vito Cal.
Vito Cal! Oh my God! Yeah.
And I always told Jack Jones that. I said, why didn't you run the ball?
Yeah.
He ran the ball. Vigorito was tired. And then when he gets to the 5-yard line, he'd throw the ball, and we'd intercept. I think we had 3 or 4 interceptions in the game, you know. But Jack Jones was a great guy. May he rest in peace.
Yep.
He had a lot of stuff out here in Rutherford with St. Mary.
Absolutely. A lot of success. A lot of success everywhere Jack went. There's no question. All right. Talk a little bit about, real quickly, before we go on to the next segment, what was Richie like as a high school kid and as a high school football player?
He was a good player. I mean, not a great player. He was a good player. I think by his admission, you know, he filled the spot. He was a tight end, and I know once we threw a little dump pattern off to him, and he went about 90 yards against Weehawken and got caught, but he was dying. He was praying to get caught, you know, because he couldn't run anymore.
Right.
And it was on the old dirt there at Weehawken Field.
Dirt is an understatement. Yeah. Glass and broken bottles too, as well. Dirt.
Yeah, we had some good teams at St. Joe's. In fact, one of the guys that was very instrumental, again, Hoboken, was Antonio Attilio.
Oh, sure. Yeah, another kid.
Antonio is battling stroke right now.
Oh, really? Is that true? Oh, God.
He was about 3 blocks from me. He had a stroke. He had open heart surgery, and the next night he had a stroke.
Oh, that's horrible to hear.
That was a while ago. I don't know if he's going to make any more progress, but I'll tell you, I used to go there 3 days a week to see him, and then his COVID started. I said, hey, we're both susceptible here. We can't do this.
That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. All right, we're going to take a break here and do another plug. And then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about the move that Gerry Bellotti made leaving St. Joe's. And we'll do that in 1 second. Thanks to Stan's Sports Center, which is your local full-service sporting goods vendor and authorized team dealer. They offer quality products and dozens of brands to outfit your team top to bottom. Stan's has proudly been supporting the local community since 1946 and is your one-stop shop for uniforms, equipment, online team stores, and much more. Locations in Hoboken and Saddlebrook and servicing the entire tri-state area. Visit them on the web at stansportsctr.com and check them out on social media for their latest creations. That's Stan's Sports Center, located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Telephone number 201-798-4466. And tell them that you listen to the Hudson County Sports Podcast and say hi to Danny DiCongilio there. Okay, in 1978, how did it transpire that you would decided to leave St. Joe's and take on a ridiculous challenge? And I say ridiculous. Oh no, it wasn't yet 78. You didn't. What'd you take? A couple years off?
No, I'm sorry. I was 79 team, and then I went and started the 80 team.
That's right. Okay, because I was the 78 team, so I was going to say, wait a minute, time out. All right, so after the 79 team went winless again, so you inherited a program that had lost 19 straight games in a row. And what in the world were you thinking? What in God's name were you thinking to take that program over at that point?
Again, my father, Marty, called me in because I shared the office with him. He said, Bellotti, Father Parks called me. He said, who's that? He says, he's the president of St. Peter's Prep. He wanted a recommendation for you to be the head coach. You want to go down there? Huh? I said, I don't even know where St. Peter's is. It was hysterical because my sister-in-law lived on Morris Street.
Okay.
I knew how to get to her house. So I went to her house and then went back 3 blocks to St. Peter's. I didn't know where it was. But anyhow, he wrote a note to Joe Parks, showed it to me. Marty says, don't be stupid, hire him.
All right. Did Marty know Parks?
I'm sorry?
Did Marty know Father Parks?
I think he did know him, but I don't know how much.
All right.
I mean, Marty knew a lot of people. But I went down there to be interviewed by he and Father Zimfer was the principal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Z-Man, is that what they call it?
Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I said to my wife, look, they lost 19 games in a row. What am I going to lose, 9 more? And they'll fire me. I said, we played them. I said, it was a joke playing St. Peter's because there was some talent there, but they didn't do anything.
Right. And we did. We had some talent, just didn't do anything.
They didn't have any. They didn't dress well. They looked like a ragamuffin outfit. That's kind of, So when I thought about it, I said, hey, I spoke to Frank. He said, Gerry, do it. And so I went down there, and I liked all the things that they stood for. I mean, I don't like what they stood for, but I liked the kids. I liked the religious aspect. I liked the schooling. I was very much into that. I liked the discipline. So I said, look, I'm going to do the best I can with what I got. I mean, I remember the first day going to practice, I had a guy that just came out of chemotherapy,
James Dansel, yeah.
Good football player.
Very good football player, just weakened sickle cell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'd get in the huddle with him, and his breath was just, whoa. Guy just had to learn to deal with that.
Yep.
We didn't have many football players. In fact, probably the only lineman we had was David. I went to his funeral and everything with Father Rosado. I'll think of it. I'm sorry. David was a terrific Jersey City kid. Strong. We didn't have much else.
Are you talking about Gray?
No, Andy Gray was the running back.
Yeah, because we just lost him too, unfortunately. Right. Bobby Falcone. Bobby Falcone is also gone too. Wow.
Yeah, I went to his funeral.
He lived near you, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He lived up in North Arlington or Lyndhurst.
Yep.
Winked up there, but we had to set some things up and had to put a coaching staff together, which wasn't the easiest thing. There wasn't a lot of. Richie Rinaldi was very helpful to me.
Yep.
Bobby Harris, who I knew a little bit, brought him on.
Yep.
Freshman staff was young. I know Louis Cambria came because of our friendship. It wasn't an easy thing for him to get from Hoboken to Jersey City. He came and we said, look, I want the kids treated like you would like your son treated. I don't want any rough stuff. We'll train, we'll do it the way we have to do it, and make sure that everything is on the up and up. I don't want any language was everything had to be good. And we're representing St. Peter's Prep. I want the football program to emulate the excellence of the institution.
Okay. All right. So now, did you get a sense that, okay, you got some talent that you could eventually win, or,
Well,
I mean, you had some kids that I played with, like Bobby Braswell, who became a orthopedic doctor down at the University of Pennsylvania. Was he still around, right?
no.
No. Okay, I lost that.
I think probably one of the better athletes we had in that, Brian Phillips.
Yep. Okay.
Well, you mentioned Andy Gray.
What was Nicky DeMarco for you at then?
Nicky DeMarco, I was just going to say, Nicky DeMarco was a young. He was
A sophomore.
He was coming up.
Yeah.
He was an up and coming. Mike Forrester.
Michael Forrester, who just celebrated his wedding anniversary yesterday. Yeah. How about that, Michael? You got your name on the podcast. How's that?
He was. He probably could have been the better player that we had
Yep.
at that time. Falconetti was playing.
Okay.
Let's see. Mark Gaddis.
Mark Gaddis was the wide receiver that was on my team too. He could play.
So it was a matter of throwing on the ball, getting the ball. We had a fullback by the name of Bobby Bennett.
Yep.
Nice boy. Again, they were all very nice.
Right. And you had a really, really skinny kid, real skinny kid, who probably weighed about 115 pounds and was like a sandbag when you threw him around, but yet he was still around, and now he's the principal of Hudson Catholic, and that's Terry Matthews.
Yep, Terry Matthews.
Right.
Unfortunately, he keeps me posted of everybody that passes away.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
The David I meant was David Hunt.
Oh, Hunt, that's right. He's the one who passed away. Oh, he was a great football player. Wow.
Yeah, he was tough.
Yep, very tough. All right, so anyway, so the losing streak goes from 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 22, and then all of a sudden, who's on the schedule but Hudson Catholic? And did you say to yourself at that point, Jerry, we got to get this one, or maybe you might not, it might run the table the other way?
I kind of preached to the kids. I said, look, I will tell you when you're ready to win.
Okay.
Winning means that you've got to work at it, and if you didn't work at it, then you're not going to win. I don't care how much talent you got, and we didn't really have a lot of talent. We got Eddie Ambrosio came up as a quarterback. He was an athlete. But all of a sudden things started happening. They started believing, and we put together a little bit of a program there that made sense for the kids. We were strong on discipline. We start at this time. We practice at this time. Everything is kind of measured on the field, not just it's drills, it's team drills, and then you go from this to special teams. It wasn't just
regimented. You had a regimented practice schedule, right? It wasn't catch as catch can, right? Yeah.
No, and the coaches had we coached the coaches too to say at this time here's the drill. We want to put these plays in. We're going to work on the blocking schemes for these plays. Not only the blocking schemes, but also the backs.
Yeah.
During it, that's when we kind of put in this, what I said, my three rules. Be prepared, be on time, don't embarrass the family.
Yep.
Everything you wanted to say was in those rules.
Okay.
Be prepared. If you didn't have the same shirt, you weren't coming on the field.
Okay.
If you weren't on time, you weren't coming on the field.
And mind you, too, tell everybody how far away you practiced. You had to go to Old Colony Field to practice, and there was no bus that was taking the kids from prep to Old Colony Field. They had to walk, carrying their equipment, over a mile to get to Old Colony Field, which was filled with broken bottles and glass, and they had that grate in the middle of it that you didn't, if you were playing a JV game there, you didn't want to make a tackle where the grate was, because if you did, you landed on the grate, it would kill you. But, that was not the most opportune place to be playing football.
And then the funniest thing was, it was an 80-yard field.
Yes, that's true.
I remember we scored a touchdown, the referees brought it back to the 20.
Right.
Well, it's an 80-yard field. I said, that makes no sense.
Right.
We're both playing an 80-yard field.
Right.
So you got it there. But to Father Parks' credit, we got buses, and we...
Oh, you did? Oh, you got buses. Okay.
We went down to, made a deal. We got...
Jersey City State Field, right?
No. We got on Liberty State Park.
Oh, that's right. Liberty State Park. Okay.
Yeah, we practiced right in front of the renovated terminal.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was pretty good then.
And in fact, we used as one of our gimmicks was we took the team picture in front of the World Trade Center.
Oh, wow.
If you played 11, that means you're in the state playoffs.
Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
And I got a host of team pictures with that, the vivid reminder. But we bussed back and forth, and it was great. It was great.
See, I should have been a little bit younger, and then I would have been able to get on a bus to go back and forth to practice instead of lugging my crap all the way from the locker room to Old Colony. So if my mother would have stayed in labor for 2 more years, I would have been just perfect, and everything would have been fun. So anyway, so now in 1980, we danced around it, but you beat Hudson Catholic, and the losing streak was over. And at that point, was there almost like a monkey off your back, or you were only around for 4 games, so it really didn't matter that much, right?
I thought it was good to get there, and they started believing in your system and started to see, reasons for what was going on and how you practiced and how you regimentation and this kind of stuff, and niceness too. I didn't want anybody being belittled. I didn't want anybody, that kind of stuff. But then we beat Marist.
That's correct. And Marist was good.
Yeah, we beat Marist, and now
and Marist wanted to fire Jackie Moore right after that game because they couldn't believe that Marist went from beating Prep in 1978, 55-7 to losing to you in 1982. See, or 81.
And then, like I said before, winning is it builds on something. I mean, look at the prep program now. They never believe they're going to lose,
ever. It's not even in their mind. It's not even the mindset.
And that's a tribute to Richie and his coaches and the kids.
Yep.
But that started from somewhere.
Yep. Okay.
Started from somewhere.
It definitely started from someplace, and it started from the guy I'm talking to right now. All right. So tell me a little bit about now you start getting a little bit better. Your brand of athlete starts to get a little bit better. And then, could you sense that you were making the turn? Did you turn the corner? Could you sense it?
I did. We beat Hoboken the last game of the year that brought us 6-3.
And what year was that? That was '84.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris Wood was the captain of the team, and we had a pretty decent team, and we started to play tough. We had some line play, and I could see that was coming.
Yep.
But then we had what was coming up was a guy by the name of Alnado Webster.
Yeah, oh boy.
He was probably the best athlete that I coached, as far as an overall tough football player. That's not saying anything about Don Finelli and Ed Backus at St. Joe's or Mike Tanner. They were all great players, but Webster was different.
He was a physical beast. He really was. And a physical presence every single time he stepped on the field. You knew exactly where he was.
And played every play.
Yep.
Every play. There was no, I think I'll take this one off.
No way. No way. Not.
So we had the presence there of line play that was starting. And I could have been the best back in the world, but if you weren't given some line, then you were nothing. I mean, to me, the Giants will lose them all.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but they have no line play. That's my feeling.
I agree with you there.
When we got some linemen, we saw a big difference. Curtis Redmond, Webster, Tim Gillett.
Okay.
Tight end wise was
Willie Wilkes. Was he was tight end? He was more of a wideout though, wasn't he? Willie?
Wideout.
Yeah. And a better defensive player than he was an offensive player.
George Scott, tight end. It's just Charlie Bible.
Charlie Bible was a very good running back. Yes.
Terrific.
Yeah.
And then we moved. Nick Wood was the quarterback that 1 year.
Yep.
And I asked him to switch positions. I asked him to become the flanker back because of his size. He could block. He could run. And made
Derek Burgess, the quarterback. Yep.
Number one, he was a lefty.
Yep.
And he could do things going left. He could also do things going right. But he was a good player.
He caused a lot of confusion for your opponents too, Jerry, because he was so good in terms of going from taking the ball, putting the ball on his hip. And then all of a sudden, at the last minute, being able to throw, and he was very, very good. Okay, now I'm gonna ask you the question in the 1985 season that I believe is the turning point of the entire St. Peter's Prep football program. I truly believe this, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it was in Breslin Field. It was North Bergen against St. Peter's, and it was the first time ever that St. Peter's Prep beat North Bergen, and you beat them, I think 14-7 was the final score, and Willie Wilkes had an interception return that is now legendary. I even make jokes with Willie, and I say that interception return was 274 yards. He says it's more like about 80, but I think it was more like 274 yards, and we all stood there in the absolute state of shock going, oh my God, we're going to beat St. Pete. We're going to beat North Bergen. We're going to beat North Bergen. How's that? We're going to beat North Bergen. And I still think that was the turning point of the whole program, that if that win doesn't take place, who knows where you go from there. Is that correct? Do you think the same way?
2 weeks before that, we beat a Bayonne team.
Okay.
2 points. We beat a Bayonne team.
I don't remember that game at all, so tell me a little.
It was our kind of homecoming game. We always have the Charlie Bible, what was his name? Jackie Hyatt.
Jackie Hyatt Award and the Tommy Myers Award was Thanksgiving, but the Hyatt Award was the homecoming game, right?
And John Agar ran, I don't know, he probably had 25 carries and just pulverized Bayonne.
Right.
Up and down the field. That, to me, set the tone for where St. Peter's football was going.
Okay. Good answer.
From a coaching standpoint, we just kind of beat them up.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't do that too much to Bayonne, you know?
All right. And Johnny Agar, who also can pulverize a softball. Well, at least used to pulverize a softball. Oh, and he's a good friend, and he played softball with me for many years, and he could crush a softball. Crush.
Now, is he teaching, by the way?
No, he's not teaching. He's in the private sector, and I don't remember exactly what it is. Why do I say the Port Authority?
Could be.
That's where I think he's in the Port Authority. I really do. John, if you listen to this, please call me and tell me what you're doing, because I did physical therapy with him about 2 years ago. Is the last time I saw him, but I used to talk to him on a daily basis. So you know.
So getting back to your question, I had a feeling that we were gonna do some good stuff. I didn't know how much it was going to transpire, but I know the kids were excited, the coaches were excited, and I said to Richie, "We're just going to go all out on this, all out."
Okay. All right.
Nothing back.
All right. Talk a little bit about your luring Hanson from his first coaching job at Hudson Catholic and bringing him down to be an assistant coach at the Prep. How did that all come about?
Actually, a friend, Lou Warrior, was the one that planted the bug in his ear.
Oh, wow, okay.
And again, another Hobokenite, you know. And I said, "Hell, we can run a defense, whatever he wants to do, you know."
Did you see that he was going to be a good coach? Could you sense that? Did you ever? Yeah.
When I retired, I remember standing up on a stage in Liberty State Park there for our sports night, and I said, I'm going to tell you, this program is going to the next level, and Richie's going to take it to the next level.
Wow.
He wanted to be a coach.
Yep.
And he wanted to be a coach 24/7.
Yep.
My time had kind of gone. I did my thing, but I had kids going to college. I had to do something else.
Right. Okay. That's a good point.
I knew I had to make some more money, and that's my start. From there, I went to Manhattan College.
Okay. All right. And so anyway, when you turned over the keys to the castle to Hanson, you knew it was. Well, first of all, 85. You did the unthinkable. You did the unthinkable that you brought St. Peter's Prep to the state playoffs. And nobody thought that was absolutely possible, and you did it in the span of 5 years. Now, you lost the game, but it was still, you're on the same field playing in the state playoffs against Tony Verducci and at Seton Hall Prep. And you say to yourself, okay, you know what? We were 8-1. We had a great run. Look at this. We're here in the state playoffs. You know, hey, 8-2, not a bad year, right?
We were 9-1.
Oh, I apologize.
We lost the state playoffs.
Oh, you were 9-0 when you lost to Seton Hall? Oh, you won the first round.
Yes,
Bergen Catholic, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we lost to them, and the field was just a quagmire, you know.
Oh my God, it was horrible. Oh God.
But that's neither here or there. Ironically, I was the last person to beat Tony.
Yeah.
The following year, we beat him in the playoffs. A couple interceptions late. You know, when we won that game.
Mm-hmm.
Greg was the quarterback. He played a good game. John Agar played a good game.
Yep, absolutely. Okay.
Did I think we were going to go there? I don't know. Maybe it came. When you get some athletes, you got some athletes. Let's not forget John DeRose.
Oh boy. Okay.
Was a
terrific football player.
Blocking it. That's the tight end, John DeRose.
John DeRose is a terrific. Again, he's another guy who I don't think of on the offensive side. I think of him more as being a linebacker, but he was a terrific football player.
We had both Nick Wood and Doug Gronder as the linebackers.
Yeah. Okay. Where did you? So what? Oh, John DeRose was a defensive end.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So anyway, 85 season you go to the state playoffs. 86 season you go to the state playoffs. 87 season is now. Did you know at that point that now it's Greg's senior year? Did you know at that point that that was going to be it? You were going to retire or step down?
I was thinking of that. Yeah. I wanted the privilege of coaching my son.
Okay.
It was a great privilege to coach him. I don't know how tough it was on him. I tried to be fair. As I said before, he probably should have been defensively playing, and I knew he could catch anything, and that was evident of him becoming the flanker and Rick Ronda becoming the quarterback.
That's correct.
But Greg could catch anything.
Okay, and it also the year before when Greg was the quarterback at Breslin Field, you know that you have the distinction of having a really dubious distinction. You know what that is, right? No. No? Oh, you're the last prep football team to lose to Dickinson.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and it was also after you lost to Dickinson. I guess it was 21-19 or something. It was a real close game, right? Yep, Masello was the kid who caught the ball. Tommy Masello was the kid who caught the ball from Travis Enix was the quarterback. I remember that clearly. Yep, and it was something that really, really badly happened after that game. That there was a sports writer that approached the losing coach, and he said he had no comment and walked away.
Is that me?
Yeah, that was you.
I probably said Happy Thanksgiving too.
Well, it wasn't Thanksgiving. It wasn't Thanksgiving Day. It was over. The Thanksgiving Day rivalry ended in 80, I guess, before you got there. Unfortunately, after somebody attacked Father Azardo, which was I think that was the end.
I think it was Joe Parks' mother got hit with something.
Yeah, she got beat. She got hit too. It was horrible. It really was horrible. But anyway, so yes, that's your dubious distinction that you are the last football coach to ever lose to Dickinson. So congratulations on that again. All right. Yeah, and only me. I'm the only person that can remind you of that. I don't even know if there's anybody else that knows that happened, right?
Now everybody knows it.
Now everybody is going to hear it. Yeah, and the only other person that remembers that is Greg. But I could probably mention that with Greg, and he's going to say, "Oh, why'd you bring that up?" See, so. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So then you knew you wanted to go watch Greg play in college. And you knew that the program, the prep program, was in good hands with Richie. Did you know that they were going to name Richie as being a head coach, or was that part of the deal that you were stepping down? Oh, that's right. You were the AD. Yeah. See, much like what Richie is right now. He's the AD. He's going to name who the new head coach is.
Right.
Yeah.
His son, probably.
Whatever. We'll see. All right, so then you left St. Peter's, and you went to Manhattan College first, and you spent some time there.
6 years I was there as the alumni director and major gifts officer.
Okay, and then from there you went to the independent colleges?
No, I actually went to Fairleigh Dickinson. I was tired of going over the bridge.
Oh, wow. You went to Fairleigh Dickinson at Teaneck?
Well, actually it was 3 campuses. It was down to 2 then.
Right.
It was Madison and then Teaneck.
Yeah. Okay. So your office was in Teaneck? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Frank, right next to the Rothman Center. Frank Mertz was the president.
Ah, see, the Rothman Center, which they're going to have to rename soon as the Greg Herenda Building. And he'll get a kick out of that. He's not going to listen to this. My close friend Greg Herenda, he's too busy doing it. Too busy. This is way over his head. He did his podcast already. He's done. All right. So now, and then you spent the final 20 years of your career? 17.
17
Okay.
with John Wilson and the Independent College Fund, and that was terrific.
Okay. And what did you do there, Gerry? A lot of fundraising?
Raised the money for scholarships and internships and things like that from corporate donors.
Okay.
We had about 200 corporate donors.
Okay.
We had a kind of a large board. We decided to expand our board, so we had about 50 board members. One being Frank D'Amelio. You know.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
You know who he's related to?
Frank D'Amelio is related to? No, I do not know.
His brother-in-law was Mike Tanner.
Oh, that's right. Oh, gosh.
Frank was a pretty good football player
at St. Peter's Prep and went to St. Peter's College, and he's from my neighborhood.
Well, he went to Miami first.
Oh, that's right. He went to Miami for about an hour and a half, and then he went to St. Peter's. I don't know if he lasted longer than an hour and a half at at Miami, but then he went to Miami, and then he went to St. Peter's.
When I approached him as being on our board, because he's a CFO of Pfizer.
That's correct. Yep.
He says, you know what? He says, my brother-in-law thought you were terrific, and he says, in honor of my brother-in-law, I'm going to join your board. And he was terrific.
Frank was, did a great job at Pfizer, and I think he's retired now, right?
No.
He's still working? Frankie's still working?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. In fact, they're probably one of the leaders in the developing of the
COVID-19, the vaccine. That's correct. Right. Pfizer is one of the leaders. As we were reminded during the debate the other night. The president threw Pfizer up right away. Said we're going to get the vaccine in 5 weeks. So anyway, Gerry, was there at any point at all when you walked away from coaching, did you say to yourself, "Boy, I miss it"?
I kind of miss the product, not the process.
Okay, good.
It was a lot of stuff was going, with the parents started to really infiltrate a little bit. And
parents infiltrated at St. Peter's Prep? I can't believe that. I am stunned at that. No.
I was always against that. In fact, one of the better things that we did was running a parents' night.
Yeah.
For prospective football players. We brought them in. We showed them our program. We showed them the kids. We had parents speak what to expect. I remember Mrs. Wood said, "Look, my son gets home at 7 o'clock at night. He's tired. He's hungry. He just came from Jersey City to Upper Montclair. And then he's got to study." He says, and he does it. I don't know why he does it, but he does it. And, he went on to Georgetown.
Yeah, he did well at Georgetown. Yeah. So.
And Chris did the same at Middlebury.
Yeah.
So it's things like that they buy into it. They didn't send their kids down here to play football per se.
No.
The whole part of the program, right?
But after you had your parents' night, you should have said, "Thank you very much for your attendance tonight. We hope to see you at a few football games. Now go home. And now leave me alone. Please, let me just go do my job."
What I did say is I would always end it by saying, it's such and such. We're going to start again lifting weights with Coach Hansen at that time. I said, I have a job for one more coach. Does anybody want to coach? It pays about $600 cash. We don't take any tax out. And I give you a nice shirt, a hat, and a whistle, and all that stuff. Does anybody want to coach?
And it was dead silence, right? Dead silence.
Nobody coached.
Yeah.
And I said, I gave you the opportunity.
Yep.
And here's the mothers poking their husbands with their shoulders, saying,
So.
And all the time when Richie Gronder would come down to the field just to watch, never said a word.
Never.
Judge Campbell never said a word.
Yep.
Never said a word. It was always, this and that. In fact, probably one of my dearest friends that I made from coaching was after I took his son's helmet for failing 3 subjects. I took his son's helmet and I said, "You're not doing me any good by failing here." I said, "You're embarrassing your family. They paid a lot of money for you to go here. Plus, you can't play. What are you doing?" And I got back up to the office, and there was a call from Dan Locker, athlete, and Dan McGoran's son is working somewhere in North Carolina now. But I took his helmet. He never played football anymore. And the father and I and the mother, we became great friends. Great friends because of that.
Wow, that's great. That's a great story. That's a really great story.
I was going to ream me out, you know.
Yep.
But anyhow, it's what it is. I kind of felt I did it somewhat my way.
Okay.
I don't know what the way it's done now. They seem to have success.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just a little. Just a little.
Got some great athletes.
Yeah. Oh, just a little bit about that too. Just a few. Just a few.
And I remember Richie telling me about Mr. Hill.
Oh boy.
And,
did we have to mention that name?
Part of the program.
Yeah, he was. Best high school football player I've ever seen, by far. He's the best. He's the best. But I'm not a fan.
I think the guy that went to Alabama was pretty good.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He wasn't Hill. I mean, Minka is a great player, and he's now proving to be an even better player because he's doing as well as he is in the NFL. But on a high school level, there was nothing better than Will Hill, and I'll stick to my guns with that. But I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, and quite honestly, he turned out to be an embarrassment to my alma mater. And
I remember when Richie said that he told Urban Meyer, he says, "I gave you the best I have, and now you're coming after this kid."
Yeah.
I won't send him there.
Yeah. Because look what happened to what happened to Hill. You know, still. But yeah, Richie's had a few, just a few, and he's got a great one in number 12, Tajamel Bullock, who is going to Virginia Tech, and he's got a chance to be the best quarterback they've ever had, and that says a lot because he's had a bundle of them. So you know, this kid's very, very good. All right.
What happened to the kid that left Notre Dame and went to Akron?
Yeah, he has. I have not heard a single solitary thing at all about Brandon, and I thought he was very good also. Same here, and I hate to say the thing that changed him was the embarrassment that Coach Brian Kelly did to him on national television by yanking him off the field in the middle of the game against LSU and making it look like it was his fault. It wasn't his fault. It was, you know, they were just a better team. But yet he yanked him off the field and made him look like, and then he brings the Book kid in, and the first pass that Book throws is a pick six. And I went, okay, there you go. I am not there than somebody else. We mentioned two people in the last 5 minutes that I'm not big fans of: Will Hill and Brian Kelly. Those are two. And
yeah, I'm not a Brian Kelly fan.
Yeah.
Or Notre Dame per se.
There you go. For a lot of reasons.
Which my son can't ever understand.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. All right. Before we say goodbye, two things first. First of all, you faced a major health crisis a little over a year ago when you had to have open heart surgery. And tell us a little bit about the recovery and the procedure.
Well, it was actually 2 years ago in June.
Is it really 2 years ago? Yeah. Oh God, Gerry, I'm sorry.
I was sleeping. My wife says, "You know, you're wheezing in your sleep." And I said, "I probably got bronchitis. I want you to go to the doctor." I said, "Okay." Next night, "You know, you're wheezing in your sleep." And the third night, I said, "I'm going." "Okay, I'll go." So I went to the GP, who's my guy, you know, and I said, "I'm wheezing. I think I got bronchitis." He says, "Yeah, I know you went to a pretty good school. Did you get a medical degree?" "Oh, no." I said, "I got a business degree." He said, "Oh, then I'll make this decision.
Okay.
I think you got a heart problem." I said, "What?" He says, so he called his cardiologist that was at Claremont, the head of the cardiology department, and he emails him on his phone. He emails him my
stress test?
EKG.
Oh, EKG. Okay.
"I want to see you tomorrow." I said, "What?" "Tomorrow." "Okay." I went there. He said, I can hear in my stethoscope that you have a leak in your aortic valve. You can do that?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "But I want to make sure," he says, "and I want to do a catheterization." He says, so I scheduled it for next Monday at this time. It was the day after Father's Day, actually. I think Father's Day was like the 18th. And I said, okay. So he says, you're going to be sedated, so you have to have somebody that's going to carry you, bring you home. I never woke up from that.
Oh, wow.
Then he brought my wife and one of my daughters in and said, he's got 3 arteries that are completely blocked, and one that's 55% blocked.
Oh, my God.
Plus the aortic valve is leaking. It would have to be done anyhow, so we'll do it all at once. So it was a quadruple bypass.
And the valve.
The following day. Again, I didn't have time because I didn't know anything about it.
And where'd you have the surgery?
By the way, they shipped me down to St. Barnabas Hospital.
Okay, in Livingston.
Which I'm pretty familiar with. We weren't too far from there at the Independent College Fund. And, I don't know. That was it.
Okay.
3 days later, I woke up and that's what was going to happen.
Do you now look at it, Gerry, and say how close you could have been to having a heart attack? Yeah.
Absolutely. Of course, I could have been to die, not even have a heart attack. I think, he said I was like a time bomb. He told my wife. He says,
wow.
I can't send him home. I have to get surgery, and I have to do it now.
Wow. Wow.
So, I guess what you don't know is pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So now, incredibly now, is this a new lease on life for you in terms of after post surgery?
Well, I kind of take care of myself. I always took care of myself.
Yeah. No.
Kind of running in that, this kind of stuff. But it's been good. I think it assisted me in retiring, and I looked at. I said to my wife, I think I'm going to retire. When JB retired. That was kind of a springboard for me.
Okay.
Because I was very close to him. Terrific individual, great person, great boss.
I agree.
And he suffered some real health issues in his last year down there. He got hit by a car crossing the street where we are and broke his pelvis in I don't know how many places.
Oh, God.
Was 6 months in a lazy boy. With pins coming out of him and everything like that. Took a lot out of him.
Okay.
And when he told me that he was going to retire, I kind of planted a seed. I knew they were going to look for a replacement for him, of which I certainly didn't want. And unfortunately, they got a poor replacement. But
okay.
Anyhow.
All right. All right. So now, and J.B. Wilson, who was the vice president of St. Peter's College when I was there as the SID, and because he was first the SID and then the athletic director at St. Peter's, he always used to look out for me, and he was a great, great man in my 6 years at St. Peter's College, and I owe a lot to J.B. Wilson, as fully well you know him. Great guy. Okay. All right. So now, Gerry, before we close, let's mention your wife and your kids and names and kids and grandkids and the whole 9 yards. So.
Wow. My wife's name is Joan Marie.
Yep.
She is a member of the St. Peter's College Athletic Hall of Fame.
That's correct.
As the first women's basketball player and captain. I think that was in like 1970.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry. She graduated in 69. So yeah, maybe it was like the 67, 68.
Okay.
There, but.
The first captain of the first women's basketball team at St. Peter's College. That's what Joan was, right?
Right. And Father Lochran was her coach.
No.
Yep. She was very fond of Jim.
I'll be darned. See, there's a small world. See, I've learned so much by doing this. It's not even funny. There's another one I never knew. So.
Well.
And you know how close of a closer friend I am to Mike Grinelli, so that's why I'm gonna have to get on the phone and tell that story to Grinelli after I get off the phone with you. So.
And my first child is Mary.
Okay.
Mary is a University of oh gosh, shame on me. I can't think of where wish you had. Rhode Island.
Okay.
I was
Jerry, you had to pay the bills, Jerry. You should know where she went to school, you know?
And she's got 4 children. Andrew, who is the leading receiver in Iona,
Ithaca College history, right?
Yeah, Ithaca.
Yep.
She's got twin girls that are, one's on her way, Daniela, she calls herself Bella now, to Vermont for basketball, and Danny, or Daniela, who's going to NJIT for soccer.
Okay, and their last name is what?
Vito.
Vito.
V-I-T-O.
Okay.
And Andrew chose not to go back for his senior year now because of the embargo on football.
Right.
But he's going to go back next year, hopefully, when this is lifted. And then she's got a 14-year-old Michael, who's just a bruising guy. Michael Gerald.
Okay.
My son has his son.
Gee, I wonder who he was named after in the middle name, see?
Joseph, who's in, I think he's in Brookdale or Mercer Community College, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And his daughter Mary, who is in college in New Jersey, junior.
Okay.
My daughter Christine, who is lives in Nutley, and her husband Joe, terrific athlete in his own right from Rutherford and St. Mary.
What's his last name?
Palumbo.
Okay.
And they have Nicholas, who's 14, and Grace, who's 11.
Okay. Jerry, I'm losing count. How many are we up to now?
Well, we got, I think, just one more.
Okay.
And that's my daughter, Jean Marie, and her husband, Tim. Their last name is Westerveld. And they have a 5-year-old by the name of Benjamin Gerald. And that's my job now, taking him and picking him up from kindergarten, which is an absolute delight.
I could imagine. He spends great time. Does he call you Pop-Pop or Grandpa? Or what does he call you? Grandpa. Okay. Do they all call you Grandpa?
No,
just Benjamin.
And Greg's kids, they call me Poppy.
Poppy. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So all in all, Jerry, you got to be really, really happy with the way your life has turned out with the family and your kids, and it all stemmed from athletics. And how great of a run was it that you had as both as an athlete and as a coach and as a father and a grandfather?
Terrific. I couldn't ask for any more. You know, just health-wise is when they say your health is everything, it is.
Yeah.
It is. You know, I've tried to do things a little bit different now as far as trying to help people.
Okay.
I guess that's the Jesuit way of be a man for others.
That
kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And that's really very, very helpful to me. I go to church every day.
Okay.
We have a terrific parish here in St. Mary, and great pastor. And you know, I've met so many nice people there. You know, people that are just ordinary people, and they struggle every day doing their thing, and yet they do it with grace, dignity, and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And part of that, as you are part of that spirituality thing with St. Peter's.
Yes.
I find that very, very encouraging and rewarding to represent a deceased alum or family of an alum, to say this is from St. Peter's Prep, your alma mater.
Yeah.
To me, that goes a long way.
Okay.
It goes a long way. And I'm not from St. Peter's.
No, but you spent a good portion of your life there, and you are still part of St. Peter's Prep. You are forever. I mean,
when they ask me what class I graduated from,
and you say I didn't.
I graduated.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I never graduated. That's even better. Yeah.
But I guess in the end, I would always say, you know, like they gave me that honor as far as the legends, which truthfully, you know,
well deserved as being a legend.
But anyhow,
Well deserved.
My oldest friend, my good friend, and we went to kindergarten together, and we were close. He was my best man, and vice versa. Jack Bassi. And I said to him that night, I said, Jack, when we took the exam in 1958 to get into St. Peter's, you made it, and I didn't. Deservedly so. But 46 years later, I got into St. Peter's Prep.
Yeah.
With this Legends thing.
That's it.
So it was, and he called me. He said, you never made anybody more proud than you made me.
No, that's a great compliment. See?
Jack is struggling right now with some health issues, but he had Agent Orange and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Good guy.
All right. Well, I will say a prayer for Jack
in
my passages. I always pray every single day now.
Thanks for putting me on this. But
Gerry, I only expected to be talking for an hour, and we've now done it for 2. How about that? See? So I don't know whether or not I'm long-winded or you are. It's one or the other. But
were you chapter 3 yet? Or what?
No, we're never. Well, but the good news is that we're both still here, and you're still here thanks to modern medicine. And how old are you now? 72?
5.
75. God bless, Gerry. So,
yes.
Yes. God bless. So, hey, Gerry. Thank you so very much for sharing the time with me today. You were a great guest, and the only thing is that you didn't last longer than Ed Stinson, but still, 2 hours is a really good trip down memory lane, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today, and I will see you somewhere down the road, hopefully, in better times and better health for our country and for everybody with the crisis. So, thanks so much, Gerry.
Thanks very much.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye now.
Take care.
Bye.
And that was my special guest, Gerry Bellotti, who was with us today as my guest on the podcast. And thanks again to our special sponsor, which is Stan Sports Center, which is your local full-service sporting goods vendor and authorized team dealer. They offer quality products and dozens of brands to outfit your team top to bottom. Stans has been proudly supporting the local community since 1946 and is your one-stop shop for uniforms, equipment, online team stores, and much more. Locations in Hoboken and Saddlebrook and servicing the entire tri-state area. Visit them on the web at stansportsctr.com and check them on social media for their latest creations. That's Stan Sports Center, located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Telephone number 201-798-4466. Thanks so very much for listening to this edition of the Hudson County Sports Podcast. I'll have another edition for you next week. I'm your host, Jim Haig. Have a great afternoon.